As promised, we are live on location in the home state of Florida. Guy on the left. Am I still on the left? I think I'm still on the left. Guy on the left.
You can
Tim,
reverse it.
Guy with the hair, James.
Yes.
We're here. Loki season
you do
finale.
not have to yell. It will pick you up just fine.
Okay, I won't be as loud then. Sorry if I blew your eardrums out there. Loki season finale, episode 6. Well, it was what, Time Forever and Always or something was the name of it?
What they say at the TVA.
Yeah.
For
now and forever and always. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up. Hold on, folks. Bear with me. Always a mess.
All the time. No time.
No. I know it. I was close. Hold on. Pulling it up. IMDb.
For all time. For all time.
For all time, always. For all time, always. Episode 6.
Yes.
This is our recap breakdown. Bro, begin.
All right.
You have he has notes. I just do it off of my top.
I do have notes. The notes are what keep us on track most of the time.
Yeah.
Anyways, I liked all the voices at the start.
Yes.
They brought in just a bunch of different random quotes from real
all
life
the movies.
and from all the movies, and that was kind of like our lead-in into showing the sacred timeline in the area. Cathedral, like what
the
would you?
Citadel is what they call it. They called it the Citadel.
The Citadel.
Yeah.
We get some very tense moments between Loki and Sylvie that are just kind of like exploring and trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean they're basically like, what the hell's going on here? And then we get like right off the bat we get the most sus moment of the entire show, because Miss Minutes pops up.
Miss Minutes, you conniving wench.
How dare she? How dare she?
She's been working against them since the beginning.
Of course she has. I said there was when she appeared in front of Loki and then popped into the computer. I was like, something's up with this lady.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising to see her. Like she's not limited to the TVA alone.
Right? Yeah. So she can kind of go wherever she wants. Kind of like essentially kind of like the TVA, right? Like she's just like another agent, like another hunter. She can she can go wherever she wants.
And I guess like they wander through the Citadel for a little while with no answer, and eventually
just kind of wandering around.
They find what they're looking for.
Well, we get a door that opens.
Yes.
Right, and out pops, I don't know,
just
he who remains.
He who remains, just a dude.
Yeah. He who remains at the end of time.
Yeah.
He has sequestered himself in the Citadel inside of Eliath. Which we find out how that happens later.
Yeah, we do. We get the entrance is so funny because he's like so nonchalant about the whole thing, and eventually is just like, yeah, let's go and talk. Let's take the elevator up. And in the elevator, I love Sylvie is like the only character in the Marvel universe that does not waste time with stuff.
No.
She immediately
like,
tries
to go. This guy's done.
Yeah,
and of course we see he blips like much like the device they put on Loki in episode 1, the kind of replay or recoil or whatever they called it. And so he blips just out of the way.
Yeah, he's like, that's not gonna work. Sorry.
Yeah, he's like, did you really think I'm in control of literally all of time? You thought you were gonna just stab me? And that was, it was kind of like, he's got a point.
Yeah, I think after that, like they talk a little bit, but they don't actually go up to the his office, is what he called it. They don't go up to that, and instead we cut to Ravonna and Mobius.
Yeah, Ravonna and Mobius. Mobius comes back. She's like shocked that he got back, but then says like, if anybody was gonna come back from the void, like it probably would have been you.
Yeah, like none of our agents have. Nobody has really come back, but I guess it's understandable that you made your way out. And he tries to convince Ravonna that like this it deserves to be like burnt down. Like let's take out the TVA. It's the whole thing was a lie, essentially.
Right, yeah. So he's just kind of being like, hey, like I've seen this place that we send everybody, and it's just a mess, and kind of the same thing that kind of Loki tried to convince Mobius of, right? Like, hey man, like this is not what you think it is. And Ravonna still sticks to her guns. She's still like, she's in charge of what we know as the TVA right now, and so she's just kind of playing her part still, just sticking to her guns, not willing to budge. And then is this where she requests B90, or is that a later scene?
I think that's later.
Okay, so we'll come back to that.
Remember.
I've got thoughts on that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. But I guess after that talk, we get back up into the office and we get quite a bit of lore dump on He Who Remains and what's going on, and he tells us about the most important thing.
It just explains everything.
He literally explains the entire thing, and he tells us about the most important part of it being the multiverse war.
The multiversal war. Yes.
Yes.
I did think it was interesting. So he said he was from 31 or
31st century on Earth.
31st century, that's what it was. Okay, so that would be the year 3000 whatever.
Yeah.
So like 3031, we can go with that. I like that. It's a good number.
Sure.
1,010 years in the future. It says we discovered the universes stacked on top of each other. We tried to communicate and share ideas, and of course, inevitably,
it goes wrong.
The same thing that's going to happen when we contact the aliens eventually. Somebody just couldn't be trusted with nice things.
Yep. Couldn't really trust them. It started off good. It was nice and benevolent, but he said, eventually there was a war. People tried to destroy and conquer the other multiverses, or other universes, rather. And I kind of put a stop to that. I ended everything.
Quick jump back. When did he kind of allude to being Kang the Conqueror? Because he says, when he's introducing himself, he says some people call me He Who Remains, or the Conqueror, this, or So is that like a little?
I picked up on that. I didn't know if that was for sure that's what they were getting at. Maybe they wanted to tease it instead of everyone was on Kang this time, just like they were wrong about Mephisto and WandaVision.
Right.
So maybe they were just teasing that to throw it at the fans a little bit. But eventually, after all this talk, all this explanation, we do get a little bit of an ultimatum.
Yeah, I mean, basically the two worst case scenarios, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're Loki and Sylvie, it's kind of like the two worst possibilities are the only two possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Either you guys take over the TVA and control things from here on out, which, Loki is kind of what you wanted before you
learned everything.
Met yourself.
Yeah.
And then the other one is you kill me and we start all this all over again.
Yep.
Someone else rises to power, someone else tries to do the multiverse, and I will come out on top again.
And it is pretty much the worst promotion you could ever ask for. You're I'm in charge of what? Literally everything. That becomes kind of an issue, right? You want me to take care of the timeline? I can't take care of my own stuff.
Right, yeah. I mean, Sylvie doesn't want to do that. Loki wants power, but I think he knows he'd be massively in over his head and would just screw that up too. So
also, how would, if he'd have to teach them how to run it? What are they just waving their hands and stuff happens? How are they deciding what's actually going on? Because you have the TVA, they're protecting variants from getting out of control, the Nexus events, and everything. But if he's guiding everything, then how is he even doing that? Some advanced technology that we're not really privy to.
Yeah, dude, I don't. This is the point of the show where my brain starts hurting. When we start talking about eventualities and time repeating on itself. Time is a flat circle. Let me crack open my Busch Light.
Yeah. He the important part was he does say, if you kill me, then we'll just end up exactly in the same spot.
Right. Yeah. You take me out.
It'll just be a different me.
Right. You take me out, this all plays out exactly the same, I'm still in charge.
Yeah, because if you can time travel and you can control the timeline, then time doesn't actually mean anything. It's like walking in a circle in your room. It's just on a different dimension. So it doesn't matter when they kill him, they'll end up in the same spot, but slightly different. That's essentially what's happening.
And you may or may not have as peaceful of a ruler, or
yes, it's like the devil you know sort of thing,
right?
And in one of those talks, one of the good quotes he has is he's laughing and telling them everything, but he's we're all villains here. Sylvie was pissed off because she was a girl when she was plucked from her timeline. But he's kind of saying, like, yeah, it's not that I like this. It's not that this is a good thing. It just has to be done. Or everything goes crazy.
Right. Yeah, man, I don't really know what else. I mean, it's kind of like, I was watching, I was going like, but this doesn't make any sense. Like, they're painting, it was almost kind of like they painted themselves into a corner, right? Like, if, obviously not, because Kevin Feige is the biggest genius on the planet. But it was like, seemed pretty cut and dry. Like, either you take over or you kill me and we do this dance all over again.
Yes. I mean, that kind of is.
We all suck. We all suck. I'm just in charge of being the suckiest.
And I think something that he says, he's like, well, I'm just tired. I just don't want to do this anymore.
He just didn't want to do it.
I've been alive for what could be millions, billions of years. We don't know how long he's actually been around doing this. Since, again, time doesn't mean anything since he's essentially immortal. And he's like even more immortal than the Asgards because they have to do their sleep thing eventually. Like,
yeah, I mean, they gotta...
Odin was old and he had to sleep every now and then.
You go... Well, but not only that, you can still die. Like,
yes. Well,
that's when he says the blip thing, when he blips... Too. But when he blips in and out, you know, he says to them, like, did you really think that was going to work? Like, I know all of this. How do you think I can teleport with my temp pad thing? Because I know when and where you're going to try and stab me.
He kept giving them the pages of their dialogue.
That was like, it was like flashback to episode 1 when like Loki and they pronounce
already.
You know?
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, no, I literally have this all lined out. You can't say anything that would surprise me. And he said he's been through a lot of scenarios, so maybe this is not the first time he's done it.
Is it maybe 14,501,000?
Yeah.
Is that the number? I don't remember. I know it's 14 million something.
It's 14 million something. But yeah, like that's all chalked up to the weirdness of time of like, if he's truly immortal, if he doesn't age, and he can just keep doing all these scenarios over and over again, then yes, he probably has gone through enough.
But couldn't he also, like, because he's in charge of the timeline, could he not also, like, he doesn't have to go through it all? He can just jump back to that exact moment.
Yeah, I mean, we see...
Like, okay, well, let's try this again.
We see the representation in the circle around the Citadel.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, he could jump in and out. It doesn't matter.
Now, is this... When do we flash back to Mobius and Ravonna? When do we jump back? Because it's before... Is it before the threshold or after the threshold?
I think it's after. Because... Okay,
because then we're sitting there... as he's explaining everything, you can kind of see the lighting in the background behind him changes. You hear like a little rumble.
Yes.
And he says, "That's it.
That's it.
We just passed the threshold."
Yeah. And they kind of... He gets really worried. He gets that worried look on his face because he knows like...
Because he knows now it's one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
He's done.
For sure, he's done. But they explain a little bit later of like he knew everything up to a point.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know everything. He just knew that, like, well, as long as it's kept in this little timeline, then everything's good. If it passes the threshold, then anything goes.
I assume that's essentially he knows everything up until his own demise, right? Like,
maybe no, because it was the threshold, and that's when he said he didn't know anything. He was like, I'm being candid here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, up until the point where on his timeline he ends.
Yeah. Yeah, well...
Is that the threshold, or is the threshold something else?
We're at the end of time, technically, which is like... the whole premise of the end of time was like, it's still being written. So it's... Yeah, it is... Again, it's weirdness. Once time travel comes in, everything goes out the door. Like, the logic doesn't apply anymore to linear thinking.
Well, you know, this is where the time travel breaks me.
Yeah, and also, at one point, Ravonna asks Mobius, like, why is no one going to respond? And we have a little bit of a flashback to B-15, right? B-15, is that her?
Was it a flashback? Or well, it wasn't a flashback. Well, so she's asking for B-90, asking Mobius where... She calls in B-90.
Yeah.
B-90 doesn't answer.
Yeah.
And then B-90 is, I guess, hunting... I guess he's the one that was hunting B-15.
Okay, yeah.
Right? I assumed that.
And B-15 shows B-90, I guess... Ravonna before she was taken as a variant.
Well, also depends on her desk. I guess she was the principal of a high school.
Yeah. And
the pens on her desk were the pens that she had.
Yeah, it was like a memento.
Yeah, and in the TVA, and then like she comes walking out like, "Who are you? What are you doing in my school?" And I guess assuming B90 is like, buddy, what?
And I think that the implication there was that she was a variant, and at some point she had to prune herself, and that's what she took the pens as the mementos for.
I don't know if it's that. I think it was just B-15 knew where she could find Renslayer, and needed to show someone else who was important within the hunters, like kind of a lead hunter. Like, hey, like had to give proof that we're all.
Well, why would she have the pens? Because she took the pens. She had all those mementos.
I don't know, man.
Office.
This is too many. They put too many things in the show that you can't possibly catch unless you watch it 20 times.
Yeah, but anyways, that does happen. And Mobius, I think. Okay, so I've got in my notes that something else comes first. So we'll talk about Mobius and Ravonna a little more later. We get a fight between the Lokis.
Well,
Loki and Sylvie.
Something happens before the fight. Is it before the fight or after?
It's after the fight.
Okay, never mind.
It's after the fight.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
So I know. But yeah, they have a really cool fight.
I mean, Loki with the force grab.
Yes, our Loki is clearly being defensive because he's like, can we please talk about this? But that's not Sylvie's game. She's been really aggressive and fast acting in her scenarios.
He force pulls her too, so...
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we're crossing over, Lucasfilm and MCU.
I mean, if he can move a building, he can move a Sylvie.
You're still hung up on the building.
Yeah, I
still
am.
hung up on the building.
I just don't know where that came from. Anyways, they have a really good fight, really cool fight, and
very cool. We saw a lot of different powers and like kind of blasts and pulls and things from them too.
A little bit of invisibility from Loki.
Yeah.
And like, eventually they stop fighting, and Sylvie decides to take things into her own hands. And then what happens?
Well, we get a little, a little smoochy.
Yeah, we do.
Which I'm going to say that it's not... This has been a debate all season long between us and Reddit and Twitter. He Who Remains calls them like the same person. He says that a couple times, that they're the same. Like, I've got two of you.
Yeah.
And that's why... So I'm going masturbation at this point. It's not incest, it's masturbation.
I think they're different people.
I mean, they're not. He said they're not.
Okay, but if you fight a multiversal war against yourself and you kill one of them, that's not suicide.
Maybe it is.
No, it's definitely not.
We don't know.
It's murder. It's a different entity.
I need Michael Waldron to come out and do an interview and just clear all this up for us.
No, it's a separate entity. They're just two people that happen to like
each other who happen to be the exact same.
Yeah.
In a cosmic sense.
Yeah, I mean, cosmic narcissism. That's a new one.
I'm sticking with my guns here. Twitter, Reddit will tell me sooner or later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she
kicks him out.
Pads him out of there, right?
Yep. Pads him out of there, and he's sitting in one of the interrogation rooms. But then
we missed the part. So that would have been after Ravonna and Mobius have their last.
That's what I was going to talk about. This is so good. They have this conversation, and Mobius is clear on like taking the TVA down. And
he's like, nah, this is it.
He pulls his little pruning stick, and she's like, you can't. You're
good.
Of no danger to me, even with that.
Yeah. Should have seen that coming.
And very quickly, he finds out that she was right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like, yep, you were right.
Yeah, I mean, she puts him on his butt, takes the pruning stick, and he was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Yeah, got me.
And then Ravonna, like, she seems to be operating on her own, but still sticking to her guns that the TVA is important, and she leaves.
Yeah. Where does she go? I don't know. I have my ideas on that. I think...
We don't know.
I think she's going to first try to find proof of them all being variants, whether she visits herself or someone else.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I also think she might be going to where she knows or where she thinks that He Who Remains is. Because we know that she's been getting her orders from somewhere.
Yeah.
She's not running the TVA on her own accord. She's been being told what to do from someone.
Mm-hmm.
She's got to go find them.
Correct. And she might go to the void, and that's pretty important because it's the last thing that's on my list, so I'll save that for now. But she might be going there to avoid something that happens.
Well, but I've got thoughts on what's coming up.
But like then it cuts to Loki, and he's
in the cell,
very sad.
Well, we should mention that after he gets tempatted back, Sylvie
does kill.
Takes out He Who Remains. Hold on, let me look at IMDb real quick, see if they gave him a name.
I think it's probably just gonna say He Who Remains.
It does say He Who Remains.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes you get lucky and they spoil it a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't try to resist it. He doesn't try to tempat himself. She kills him, and then just kind of
wash over you.
Yeah, she kills him and just kind of sits down and is like, well, "What do I do now?" I mean, it's kind of your lifelong mission of however long has been to kill this guy.
It reminded me of Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight when he says, like, I'm like a dog chasing a car.
Yeah.
What would I do if I caught you? I wouldn't know what to do with myself. That was my Heath Ledger Joker.
Yep.
That happened.
That happened. That's the thing.
I don't know how I got these scars.
So I guess then we get sad Loki, and I think he's so hurt because
heartbroken Loki, betrayed Loki.
Yeah, he said earlier that,
lost Loki.
That like he's talking to Sylvie. He's like, you can't trust anyone, and I can't be trusted.
Right?
So
she kind of flipped that on him, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, but it's also part of her not being able to trust anyone. But she's like,
well, sure,
because he would have stopped her and so on. But like that was probably the only time in his life where he really felt in connection with someone, and she took that from him.
She did. She did. She broke. And I think we're going back to nasty Loki now because
maybe
he's broken.
Maybe. But
sad boy season's about to begin.
We do get sad Loki running through the TVA,
trying to figure out what the hell's going on because everybody's going to war, and based off of and this is where they got everybody. They got everybody. Everybody got here because based off of what happened when Ravonna left, I just assumed Mobius was like, "Hey, ready up. We know where to go. This is where this is what we're doing." And maybe not so much.
Yeah. So, as we talked about the time travel weirdness earlier, if you invent time travel, time no longer means anything. And Loki goes and finds Mobius and a few other agents, but he finds them in the library.
Yeah. He's running, looking around. Everybody's panicking, running around.
Yes.
He finds Mobius and were we supposed to? Who was he with? B-15, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was with B-15. And they're talking. Mobius is telling Loki to calm down. He's telling him that, okay, you're an analyst, so I need you to calm down. Where's
your division?
Unit?
Where's your unit? Yeah. What division are you?
All this stuff, and we find out that
clearly doesn't recognize Loki.
He does not know Loki at all. And immediately after that, they pan over, and what happens?
We get different. I would assume different timeline police of the TVA, right? Like
yes.
So you're in charge of this world. You're in charge of this world. You're in charge of this world. Like
yeah. So that's kind of how the TVA looked to begin with, but we see that like the statue is no longer the timekeepers. Instead, it is He Who Remains. And that is exactly how it would work. Because when Sylvie killed He Who Remains, he was like, yeah, I mean, we're just going to end up right back in this loop. And that's what happened. It's slightly different. But
perhaps a different version, I mean, obviously a different version of him took over because they've made the statue to themselves now, right?
Yeah, so we don't know if that's better or worse. It kind of seems a little
I'm going to assume it's worse.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it's worse. It seems a little narcissistic to do that. So I guess
that's it. That's where we end off.
We do get a multiverse, but we don't have a multiverse. Like
not yet. We do have it because when they
we still have the sacred timeline.
When they were in the Citadel and they go through the threshold and he says you're running out of time, and then they kill him, the whole damn thing lights up.
Yeah.
So we know that we've got all possibilities back on the board now.
That was from Sylvie's perspective, though. Because we don't know what happens after.
I mean,
if it's another loop and we come back, then you know.
No, you're gonna break my brain.
We don't know how long it's been.
No.
Maybe it's Sylvie and her timekeeper was He Who Remains, you know? Maybe she is actually running things.
No, man. No. All right, hold on. Let me I got to refocus here.
And we didn't get Mobius on a jet ski. Could we just give him a jet ski?
We didn't get Mobius on a jet ski. Now we all knew there was going to be a post-credit scene, right?
It's small.
So you're watching. You see Loki Laufey's file. They put a stamp on it. And it says, Loki's coming back for season 2. Kevin Feige, you beautiful son of a bitch. You told us it was only going to be a 1 season. They said there's no second season of Loki. No second season of Loki. And what do they do? As soon as it drops, and then about 9 o'clock this morning, all the news outlets broke at IGN. All these people started reporting, Loki's been officially renewed for season 2. Kevin Feige did it before they renewed it.
Yeah.
He knew.
Which is fantastic.
He is the one who remains, Kevin Feige.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. Like, trusting Kevin Feige, he doesn't do anything wrong with the franchise. Like,
at this point, I think Kevin Feige should just run the world. Like, we've screwed it up enough. This man has proven that he can create multiple universes, multiple timelines, and make it all make sense. Why isn't Kevin Feige in charge of the world?
I don't know, but I'm personally looking forward to more Marvel Disney Plus shows. They're
so good.
This is the best one so far.
They're so good.
It was just so, like, the production quality was perfect. They had a well thought out, like, self-contained story, but not really self-contained because it still bleeds into the MCU.
Well, we know for sure how we're getting to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home, which is when we're supposed to get the first Doctor Strange appearance before the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So now we know how this happens.
Yeah.
All because damn Sylvie had to break her boyfriend's heart and kill He Who Remains.
She never wasted time in killing people, and this was no exception.
But, Loki was just about to make the face turn, and right back into heel mode now.
I don't think so. I don't think he's going to heal.
He's going right back to heel mode.
No, he's going to be trying to fix things again.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of it, right?
They
gave us
Loki.
A major cliffhanger.
Hangover?
Cliffhanger. Well, cliffhanger. Yeah, cliffhanger.
I don't want a cliffhanger.
I think I've just said the word hangover so many times in my life. It's more natural than cliffhanger. Anyway, we get a massive cliffhanger. We know that they're coming back for season 2, guaranteed. We know we're getting at least 2 movies dealing with the multiverse within the next. I think it's within the next year. I think.
Are we? That's crazy.
I think it's within the next year and a half. Yeah, I think they've already wrapped principal photography on Spider-Man.
Nice.
And I know they're in the process of doing stuff for Doctor Strange, so,
Awesome.
I think that's where we're going. Yeah, I mean, that's it. This has been the season finale of the Bros Watch Loki. Season 1, episode 6, Time Always Forever?
For all time, always.
For all time, always, yeah.
You got there eventually.
We're glad you guys joined us on this wild ride, because it was a wild ride. It was 6 weeks. 6 weeks of madness and beautiful filmmaking.
Loved it.
From everyone involved. Kate Herron directing, Michael Waldron writing, Kevin Feige presiding over all that is great in this world. Yeah, that's it, man. If you like this, like, rate, and subscribe. We'll be back for season 2. Loki comes back for season 2. We come back for season 2.
At some point, there will be The Expanse in the next few months.
I also think the boys is close to being done, I believe.
Okay, good. Because they finished filming on The Expanse. I know that.
I think The Boys might be coming out first. Dang. But anyway,
I'm happy for that.
The Boys will have season 3, and The Expanse. This is what, season 6 of The Expanse, or 5?
Season 6, the final season.
Final season of The Expanse. We'll for sure be doing that. If Amazon drops The Expanse at night, we might just do every episode live.
Yeah, if they could do like an 8 p.m. drop, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, if we, that's the one thing that's pissed me off about all these Marvel shows. They come out at 3 a.m. Eastern. You just can't watch it right when it drops.
Midnight.
It's just not impossible. I'm too old to do that shit anymore.
Midnight Pacific, no thank you.
But anyways, if The Expanse is getting dropped at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night every week, we'll just have immediately live reviews here on the Sippin' Around channel. So make sure you follow us there. I know we had a pretty big following for that one, so You know, hopefully, maybe we can get some live questions and things in the chat like we did before. So that'll be good. But yeah, make sure you follow us along. We'll do the Mandalorian too. I have no idea where they're at with that one.
Yeah.
But Mando just got the most amount of Emmy awards, I think, of any show. So nomination, whatever it is. I mean, they should win all the awards, but
yeah. Well, not all.
Yeah. So it just kind of proves that, you know, our nerdy likes and dislikes in this world have finally come to fruition.
Yeah. Also, Invincible got snubbed.
Yeah, that was crazy. But you know, companies are finally learning that like there's a very passionate fan base and following, and there's also so many crazy stories. Like if you're doing these comic books, they've been written. There's been so many different versions of comics written over you. You can pull so many storylines and add to them, and take this character from here and put them over here.
Yep.
And you know, I think they've finally figured out that if we put resources into these shows, we can be very, very, very good. And that's where we're at right now. We're in a golden age of nerd culture right now.
Agreed.
So anyways, follow us along. We'll be back. Whatever the next show is, we'll be back. See ya.